Hello.
Good evening and welcome back to PoliTalks. It's been some time, hasn't it? Hey, Summer.
Hey, Frank. It has been some time. Welcome back, everybody. Those out there listening in Facebook land, Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Happy to see you. Welcome back, Frank. Happy to be
Welcome
back.
back.
How are
Kicking
you?
off 2021 season. I'm good. Feeling a little rusty, but imagine I'm gonna shake it off in no time and we'll get back in the groove. I've missed you guys, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, no. Feedback. Definitely feeling a little bit rusty. But this is episode one, right? We're prototyping. This is what we do. We're bringing it back, and the rustiness is going to come off. Hey, Kemet. Hello. How are you?
Hey, Summer. Hey, Frank.
What up, Salty Beard? What good?
I am well.
Mm.
Getting old. I mean, wise.
Hi, Darren.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
I
man,
discovered
Darren.
new gray hair. I just discovered a new gray hair this year, so I'm on that right path.
Where you?
Somebody is shutting you down. He's the
I don't
baby.
see
Everything's
anything.
like
I see no
whatever.
on your face.
You're the baby here, so
When we compare what's going on in this Afro.
that's right.
Yeah.
And you don't have a real beard. Only the three of us have a real beard here.
Wow.
You talking about Darren like that?
But you know, the shade though. The shade. Yes, the shade. I knew he was talking about me. I will have y'all know. Look at this. Look at this.
Fresh.
I
like it.
luckily deal with my lady beard because it would have been longer than both I own and I'd have been ashamed.
Anyway, I do want you to put out a little shameless plug of your natural skincare regimen that's got you glowing because everybody can see that your forehead is popping.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Unlike other people on the call.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Everybody.
Happy Three Kings Day, Vernon.
I'm giving up on my lights today. Don't call me on my lights. Okay? I love my lights. They're going to stay up for a couple more days, okay? You'll be all right.
You get to be festive as long as you want. Next thing you know, every episode of PoliTalks, they get the lights in the back.
We're going to have to put up lights behind us.
Just screenshot this, and 6 months from now, when Vernon come on the show, he got lights in the background, just drop it in the Facebook chat.
How was everybody's transition from 2020 into 2021?
Could have been smoother, but I ain't complaining. We're in a good position where we are. I know a lot of people up in the States and Europe struggling, so I feel like it's not up to us to complain. It could be better. It could be much, much worse. So I feel blessed. I feel honored to still be here. A lot of people did not make it through 2020, so I'm just happy to have life and health and y'all as part of my life, and let's keep it going.
I hear that.
Yep.
I hear that.
So I am in total agreement with everything Vernon just said. So over the Christmas, like I had a lot of time to do a lot of reading. And of course, y'all know my mom's a Christian. We live in a Christian household on this side of the island. And one of the things the lady said that really like flipped my mind, which I hope to bring to PoliTalks in 2021, is my mom was talking about, or Cindy Trim was watching me while my mom told me what Cindy Trim was saying. It's really about the blessing and the fact that the anointing flows down. So like what you curse and what you bless is basically, you kind of like you to reap what you sow with your mouth. And so being really diligent about blessing the Virgin Islands and blessing our government. And that doesn't mean that I don't name or we don't name the things that don't work, but really just flipping the narrative. So Vernon's starting off with being like, I blessed, and there's people who didn't make it through 2020, and it have definitely people who ain't enter 2021 with the same level of peace and grace that I have. So yeah, I'm on that with Vernon, like where we live in, those Virgin Islanders, like remembering we live in a blessed space.
Definitely. We have to keep our gratitude, even when we address things that are wrong. I think that you're right, Summer, is that we have to look at the positive side of things and address the things that are issues and bring them into the positive rather than focusing so much on what is negative. So I think that attitude of gratitude, not to rhyme and be corny, is great. So I like that for 2021.
Yeah, that was kind of corny though, but yeah, I agree.
Attitude is gratitude.
You look who I'm in the
That's
middle of.
some that's
My
some
friend.
Montessori.
Kemet just nice about that comment, but a salt and pepper beard.
Yeah, look, the salt and pepper is all wisdom, and we grow out of silly rhymes and witty haikus to try to get a message across. So I'll accept that. But I co-sign everything Vernon said. I made a promise, and I think I posted it on my page that I'm done looking forward to the future when it's unknown, and I enjoy living in today. And again, happy that I'm still here with all of y'all. And each day is a new thing. So
For sure.
Darren.
So I will say I became a Clubhouse regular.
Less than
Yeah,
5
I tell you,
seconds.
Vernon.
Go ahead.
About
President of the Clubhouse.
he can rhyme Clubhouse.
I wouldn't say president of Clubhouse, but I just
He's
like
like
Clubhouse.
he's like a governor or something in there
Yeah.
for sure.
He's our position.
He's our position.
2021.
He might be on the payroll.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, though. Darren, we're sorry.
Yeah, it's not a pyramid scheme, but talk about.
No, that's good, right? No, honestly, it's just being a regular in Clubhouse and just talking generally to Virgin Islanders, and we just find a place that progressives could be together, and I would just be my genuine, honest self, and things kind of happen. So yeah, just been definitely having a good
You're
time.
right, though. Yeah.
And just be my genuine self, and people appreciate me for me. So that's all it really is to it.
You know how he said genuine, right? He think he's a singer with sexy abs dancing up on the thing.
That is a complete
I mean, my
opposite
genuine
of
self,
hashtag. No, but that is a complete opposite of later money hand. That's a complete opposite of the hashtag.
Yeah.
Genuine is complete. Anyway.
You're right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Darren, we're gonna get you some paint. We're gonna paint some abs on.
You see? That's why I like y'all. That's why I like y'all.
That's right.
That's why
our friends. Thank God you have a good sense of humor.
Okay, well, before we move too far forward into our into the meat of our conversation tonight, I do want to touch on what's been going on in the mother country, as they say, America. Massive stuff. Seems like there's turmoil up there. What do you guys? I'm not that surprised. I kind of called it. I saw it coming. I didn't think it was going to happen the way that it did at the time. But what's your takeaway? What's your thoughts about the Proud Boy Rising or whatever the hell? I don't know what to call it.
Trump said it today. It's just the beginning. He legit said it today.
Again?
It's just the beginning. So I was trying to enjoy my birthday the other day, and I was behind this idiot.
What does that say? Biden is not my president?
Yep. So legit, and you could tell that he had just done it because the rest of the truck was dirty like what? And then the song was clean. He might have done it not last Wednesday, the previous Wednesday, on the 6th. But yeah, it's scary. I think that this is the scary part about it all is that this is likely the beginning of it really going south. And so it is kind of sketchy. The fact that they will not, as much as DC is fortified right now to have a successful inauguration tomorrow.
Crazy.
The fact that they can't do that for 365 days a year in all of the cities around the U.S. is kind of scary. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think if the Senate joins the House in sending a clear message that this just isn't tolerated in our democracy, I think it'll be for the best. But I hope that it doesn't go the opposite way, because there'll be that side of the U.S. will be even more encouraged and emboldened to be
Fired
who they
up,
are
yeah,
and
for
continue to
sure.
show themselves. So we'll see. I don't put any stickers. I might get a Trump sticker for the back of my truck just so them they leave me alone. But it's crazy that this
Put a
is where we
flag in.
are.
So
I was
you guys
wearing
want my
a cap.
you guys want my edited version, or you want like my true deep feelings about what this
True
is?
deep feelings.
What
Go
do you
deep.
mean?
True deep feelings.
This is
We
Get
mean.
into
PoliTalks.
the pool.
Let's get
Say
rock.
what
Right.
you gotta say.
So
Say what
everybody,
you gotta say.
anybody who knows me knows I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. Um, or maybe a lot of it.
Never talk about it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Anybody may ever get that from me? No, but so I actually think that there are people nudging for our nation to go towards civil war. I think
Absolutely.
that I think it's been a long time coming, and I think like there is in my conspiracy theorist world that leads to the reorganization and the restructuring of power, right? And so this is about who has power, who controls what. There are people who view war as a necessary evil. It's a calling that people have called for that could call the population. That would, there is money in war because you need militia. There is the ability to break the dollar as we know it, right? To break
Yes,
economic
money and
systems.
war.
Um, Not to sound too Illuminati or the writer of a he wrote a pale white horse ish, but like to emerge a new financial system and financial structure. And like, so that's like one reality. And so like, we're just living in uncertainty. And I also think it's the perpetual distraction, right? This that's happening where people are constantly spending time to decipher what is truth and what is not truth and who didn't do it. Like we're literally in what's that who done it movie? Clue. Do you remember the game Clue, where you try and figure out who
Yeah,
did the kitchen and the knife? Was it the maid with a knife? Was it the
Mhm.
butler with a? So
butler
they
of the
are
candlestick.
literally taking all of our brain intelligence and absorbing it in this distraction instead of having people on the ground build power to like maintain and sustain ourselves. Because contradictory to whatever it is that is happening nationally, I think we should be aware and apprised and moving. But there is necessary effort for us to safeguard ourselves wherever we live and keep our good work going. And you can't almost do both, right? Because that is so intoxicating and so draining at the same time that it could literally paralyze anybody.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's me.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I mean, right now we're looking at this, and I refuse to use the term mother country. That is not. I
It's
don't look at America as my
it's
mother,
a joke.
because
It's more
if
like
that's
you're
my
drunk
mother,
uncle.
I want to get what was it that Macaulay Culkin did to get rid of his parents? I want to be
Is the
separated
good son?
from that. Yeah, because
Emancipation.
emancipation. Yes, if America is the mother country, we need emancipation again, because this is
We need actual emancipation. We're not emancipated from America. The only
no.
thing we emancipated ourselves from was slavery. And
Now,
people say,
what I will
oh,
say,
no,
Frank, what I would say, Frank, is much more difficult to emancipate ourselves from America on paper, but in principle, we need to make it very clear that in principle and in practice, we don't go with what they're doing up there. We are not for the kind of dissension, the kind of disunity, the kind of
Mhm.
thank you, security, sovereignty. What the last one is?
Sustainability.
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 That's a great shirt, and honestly, it needs to be a motto that we need to move with
It's
force.
Summer's motto.
It's
Mhm.
Summer's motto. Well, it needs to be all our
That's her
motto.
shot. She make that shot.
Make me one know.
Yeah, it would support my nonprofit. Anybody who
Yeah.
wants one,
I
holla.
got
We could
you.
post Saho
I
in the
got
box.
you. Put a link in how to buy the t-shirt in the thing, and you know what I mean. Let me make some black business work. Come on, let's
Yep.
go.
Yeah, man. Let's
Honestly, we need to get on that.
shirts go on sale in February. $35 a
Here.
piece.
I said it. But no, I hear you, Vernon. I don't think America is my mother country either. So yeah,
And
I
yeah, and
just please be aware that me using the phrase is just
it's
typically
just
what
facetious.
it's what you it's facetious. It's what you call the colonial power. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a figure of
So let's
speech.
just use that.
But
Let's just
I
say that.
think
American arm and
Let's
money,
call it what it
not
is.
my mother. Huh?
but I think what the six also reminded us of
Really comes from British colonies.
is what they reminded us of is this is America. A lot of people are think that they were blindsided. A lot of people are shocked. But this like legit is America. This is how the country was built.
This is
And
America.
black
Don't
and
get
brown
you
people,
slipping, huh?
we might forget, we might think, and I can't remember who mentioned it on the news today, but there after the MLK, the Malcolm X era, there was, and the civil rights movement, there was this sense of and I don't want to call it a false sense of we're making progress, but there was a false sense of we got here.
Yes.
And I think this was a good reminder that we still have work to do. That their intent when they brought people over here to build this country wasn't for us to live in peace and harmony until the end of time. They were thinking about it as we're going to bring people, we're going to develop this land, and maybe they forgot the return ticket, but honestly, they built this for them, and I think the sad reality is, hey, we own most of it now because all the ingenuity, the flavor, the seasoning, the culture, a lot of that comes from us.
It's a happy reality. That's not a sad
Just
reality.
look at TikTok now. Like, you don't see them redoing videos of their own dances or
music
or their own music.
You don't see any river dance TikToks?
No, it's all actually. There is that new Geico commercial that is kind of cool with clogging. But for the most part, we have, when you talk about like building an amazing society, most of it is us. Like when you look at all of the coastal states, you go to the Midwest, that's a completely different thing. That's theirs.
Look at the picture in your background.
I wouldn't want to be there. Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. And what all of that reminds me of is that we've been doing this for
millennia.
What? We've been doing this for way before we even evolved into like shades of complexion that are more similar to Frank. And so I think we need to own it. We've had a number of conversations in the past about race and whatnot, but we need to own the fact that the civilization that exists today that they so much want is something that we created, and so we have majority ownership in it, and we need to live in that, walk in that truth. No shade.
But Kevin, I feel like the story is much bigger than that. I feel like America is such a young country. It has yet to be properly defined yet. We all have these false definitions and these projections, and the propaganda that they push is not accurate. I don't know if I'm the only one here on this call, but when I was leaving here to go college in the States, I had an assumption about the States that was incorrect. And when I got there, the drastic culture change and difference, and the racism and the colonialism and all the isms made me decide very quickly that this ain't a place for me. As much as people feel like it's a land of milk and honey, and many people from the diaspora are doing well. African Americans in the States, certain people are doing very well. You have Africans coming from across the seas and doing very well. You have a lot of our people all over the United States doing very well. And I take nothing away from that experience, but it was not for me because I knew
What?
that I was either going to jail or I was going to go and die because I
So I have a question
tolerated
about
that
doing
disrespect.
for only. Sorry, Vernon, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, what are you saying?
Oh, I was saying, is it really? Are people really doing well if in their own personal and individual success, it aids in enhancing the success and power not of people who care
Self,
about you or
right?
your own people or self, but really enhancing the power of people who don't like you or dislike you. Or, I mean, I think a lot of people define define success as, you know, monetary success, as
Birds and
making
bees.
money, as, I'm able to, I got my house, I'm able to pay my own bills, all of this nonsense. But at the same time, it's like you work for this corporation that deals in all of this evil across the world, but you turn a blind eye to it and it's okay. But you're doing well.
Hmm.
So
Am I making sense?
But
you
I
are
think,
making sense.
yeah.
And I wanted to I have like three thoughts spiraling back to Vernon's original, um, kind of talking about the insidious nature of structural racism, right?
Mhm.
Like the truth is the land of milk and honey is milk and honey that's stolen from other people, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's either milk and honey that we don't pay for indigenous milk and honey built and curated off of the back of black people who did not to be here through chattel slavery, right? So like we could name that. So
Hmm.
that's the milk and honey that they're experiencing. I think that people, because there has been such strides in civil rights based on the blood, sweat, and tears of our forefathers, many black leaders who have done so much to allow us to get to a position where assimilation is accepted, right? So, as a black woman, if I can assimilate to American society, and do well by their standards, I now have more opportunity. We have yet to create the space where who I am is valued and acceptable for me to thrive in my own culture. What we have done is we have perpetuated that what gets you wealth is their patriarchal, capitalist, greedy system. And if we can adjust to that and find how to manipulate that, then you experience a level of success.
Hmm.
What America has become so good at doing, and we see it trickling down to the Virgin Islands, is promoting I above we. But there's an African proverb that says, alone you could go fast and together we can go far. And so nobody cares about going far anymore. Everybody cares about going fast. We live in a fast consumerist society that is predicated on the success of I over the success of we. And
Hmm.
you see it in political structures, you see it in business. That's why everything is free trade and competition. There is no collaboration as business. It is kill your competition. And so,
Yes, Miss Stanley. The foundation of the country was not built in the favor of us. Changing and amending laws is a superficial fix. America needs to rewrite their foundation to incorporate Black people as citizens.
I just want you to know I know Kalia. Yes, no, but I mean, it's these type of conversations that, like, I'm excited to start off 2021, and because when we talk about what that means for our colonizer, our colonial power, right? That we still fall under um a colony, not even a territory, because we don't have the right to incorporate, and we ain't even teaching it to children in school. We're gonna get there, shows down the road. Um, how does that play out in a predominantly black and brown community that is still perpetuating all the same structures that build the inequity that's in the States and bring it here? Right? So St. Croix should be Wakanda, Croikanda. It should be this Black Mecca. It should be this place where we are thriving. And it's not. We have the same power struggles, the same systems, the same elitist mindset, the same small few who are thriving, the same prison rates, the same obesity rates, the same hunger rates, and it's us running ourselves. And that's all we did is we inherited, with Melvin Evans, all we do is we take their system and put a black face on it. And I am not disregarding or disrespecting any of the work from our forefathers, because it brought me to a place where I could say this on PoliTalks today.
Absolutely. I
But the
think
truth is more.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think Summer, I think we can't be angry at our forefathers because of their own indoctrination and education. So you learn from your oppressors and you take on their systems. Hopefully, at this point in time, like many of us can now see the truth, dissect it. You know, there are more facts that have come to light about the systematic ways of oppression that exist. So we can see things more um, clearly now, if you will. And hopefully that will allow us to take the time to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's unlearn this, let's unpack, and let's maybe take what we can from these systems that are actually good and benefit us. But we really need to be creating something that allows for prosperity for Virgin Islanders, for us as a island nation moving into the future. Your shirt really said.
I think you're absolutely right. I think, but a big part of the problem is what I was getting back to about this comment about propaganda. We have to tell the truth. We have to tell the truth about America's history. We have to tell the truth about our history. You know, I had a conversation. No, hold on. I had a conversation with somebody today about equity and diversity, right? And from a perspective of somebody who's coming from a perspective of power, right? You're saying, okay, well, it's very important that we have equity and diversity in the workplace and whatnot. But what we're missing is the truth or the fact of the matter that every time in American history that Black people had an opportunity, not opportunity, they took advantage of their opportunities and they were thriving. There were facets of white America that deliberately and systemically fought them down, burned them down, destroyed them on purpose. It's not to say that, oh, these are blind systemic things that we don't know about. That's not true. The truth is there's not just Tulsa, there's Charlotte, there's New York, there's Flint. I mean, you can go from city to city, from town to town, and see that every time Black people have done well in America, there's been facets of white people that have deliberately come to us, making this strippiness and starting this strippiness and making us have to defend ourselves. It wasn't that we were just, no. We have done well when we've been left alone. We don't need affirmative action. We need you to have stop your negative action, your destructive action towards our prosperity. When that happens, America will be all right. But you have the idea that American ills can be solved by white people is ridiculous. White people are often the problem. I'm not even trying to point fingers. I'm just trying to tell you that in America, what I notice is that either you're ignorant and therefore you're part of the problem, or you're deliberate and you're definitely part of the problem. Or you're a small minority that knows what the problem is and is willing to do what you can, knowing your privilege, to do better. Now, that is few and far between. So you're going to place all Black people, you're going to place all of your efforts and all your hope in the few people of non-color that might understand our plight. It's not for them to save us. It's not for them to come to us and help us. We have to help ourselves. And all we need, these small facets of non-Black people to do, is leave us be, and we'll be all right. So, history has shown us, and we are just not given the opportunity to thrive. Every time we do, they try deliberately to fight us down. And that's the thing that is not told about America.
No, I bring up Marcus Mosiah Garvey because, in reading Ibrahim X. Kehindi's book, right? Stamped from the Beginning, right? When Marcus Garvey came to America in search of the NAACP, what he quickly found inside was this wasn't a Black movement for everybody. This was a Black movement for light, bright, nearly white assimilationists. It didn't value the talents of our Black people. It valued the Black people who could assimilate and chose to assimilate easy, who said, showing you that I am a good Black person means that I can operate within white systems. And I said that to say that, Vernon, I ain't even, like, so people who consider themselves, or I have a lot of white friends who I share this passion with, who I have these real conversations with, conversations I can't even have with black people because the conversation makes them so uncomfortable, right? And I don't consider my white friends who share this passion white allies. They're just white friends, right? Who see and share a perspective, though it's a different lived experience, that there's something that needs correcting and there's something that we need to reimagine together, right? And I
The
feel like we
human
haven't,
perspective.
but the charge that concerns me more is that the black people who I can't have a conversation with because they're close to it, because it makes them uncomfortable. There are people who watch this show and is like, oh my God, look at them liberals, look at them progressives, look at them people who don't get how it works. And we threaten their power because we think nothing like them, because they have mastered the capitalist wheel. It's how they have gotten everything that they have. And us wanting to have a public conversation destabilizes the legacy that they were building in their self, that is rooted in I. They are the people of the pretend we. And they don't know what I want. They don't know what you want. They don't get what Frank want. They don't want to get what Kemet want. Because people who are genuinely interested in the collective are a threat because we can't be bought. I'll tell me today you don't want the edited version. So like these are the true conversations that I know people don't want to have this conversation. Black people who have some level of power, some level of wealth, some they are achieving their legacy. They want to shut this conversation down and up. Like they don't want it to be had. And so I ain't even ready to have an interrace, a cross race conversation, because we have to look at how Black people have internalized oppression and how we keep each other down and how we ourselves. And tonight's conversation, people, is supposed to be about the legislature, right? And
Usually.
this is PoliTalks. And so to me, this feeds into it because we're doing what we to do. How we create policies that don't necessarily serve the
Oh,
concept of liberation, right? Those policies that we write, we look at American systems, we copy, we imitate to create. We're not innovating and creating our own solutions. We're copying what we see other places do, not really owning the fact that the system was never built for us. So we are our own oppressors. It don't need no white person to gentrify the Virgin Islands. I am the gentrifier because I'm using like the Virgin Islander and our leaders are the gentrifier if we think bringing in a white business is the answer to solve something in a Black community. Instead of empowering Black entrepreneurs, if I think I have to go abroad and find white people and white money to come in here and save the Virgin Islands budget, then we're not growing from the inside. And that in itself is a racist structure. It says the Virgin
dude,
Islands.
we love the white savior complex. I think
And
that
it's
we
not
are.
white people who have it. They're just, oh yes, we's the people who going out there begging them to come. The
Right.
Virgin Islands ain't gonna do well if you don't come.
And
I mean,
what's
Meanwhile,
they,
we're
sad
not
about
inviting our own people of the diaspora. Why
all of
don't
that?
we invite other Black people to come down here?
Right.
Because we don't trust other Black
we,
people.
And why don't
Ah,
we don't
and
trust
why don't
ourselves.
okay.
well
We
what's
get into
even
it.
more important there is, why don't we bring in people that actually have resources? Because a lot of the people that end up coming to the Virgin Islands that say they have resources actually don't.
They just
And it's the same way that
knock on the
they
gate.
borrow to get where they're at. It's the same way that we could borrow to get where they're at, but we refuse to. And there's some things with the system where it would
We're
be
gonna work
easier
together.
for him or her to get said loan, that it would be for one of us to get said loan. But um it's
Well, I
that's a
mean,
weird phenomenon that when you really look into the, a lot of the, and you can call them crooks that came into the Caribbean, Stanford, like there are a number of people that came in and really didn't have anything. Or you make passes for the people like Epstein that come in, but you can't make that exception, and it's not even asking for an exception, but you can't let legit people that look like you come in and do the same. I've always had an issue with that. But I've also always had an issue with the concept of race. And um, I'll save it for another conversation, but I would be very interested in a conversation about how, like, we can do away with the entire thing and just and I know that it's that's what I said. It's not a conversation for tonight, but
Whew, that's a heavy one.
it's such a false categorization of people that
Concept of race is younger than America.
that has like people won't let it go. People refuse to let it go, and I would be very interested. I know it's not going to happen in my lifetime, but the fact of the matter is, we are people. We're human beings. We're all the same. We all descended from the same few primates that originated in Africa, and so we were all dark. We moved to different climates. We changed hair texture and nose width and skin tone. And the fact that, years and years and years later, people have created this system that the rest of the world just goes along with and nobody questions it on a daily basis is crazy to me. But like Vernon said, there are the people living in ignorance, and it's a lot more people than
people deliberately living in that way too.
We realize, and I think it will be hard for us to move beyond all the stuff, the random stuff that occurs right now. The more we hold on to this thing that's called race, because it really doesn't separate us. It really shouldn't separate us. That's all man-made. It's not. If you believe in a higher power, it wasn't created by a higher power. If you
they use the higher power and manipulate it to make you think so.
Yeah. So that's that's sidebar. It's a thought that was going through my head when we were talking about what we're talking about. I don't know the answer, and I don't know when it's gonna get fixed, but there's that.
I think it's
we have to fix
it. I think we can start fixing it, but I don't think that we can. The concept of race was developed to keep Black slaves and white indentured servants from combining. It also was created so that we could build this capitalist system. I don't like capitalism because when I started reading about the foundation of this country and how, America was really founded by crooks. It was a bunch of exiled people, sent away from Britain, same like Australia. And, they came here, they did the dirty deeds, and then they're like, we can make a lot of money if we just, bring people to work the land. We're following this slavery system that everywhere else has, but let's turn it up a notch and really become a powerhouse. And it's like, let's create the concept of race. If you look like that, Black, you'll always be a slave because you're 3/5 of a man. That didn't come until about 75 years into the foundation of America. There are still American Black slaves they weren't slaves yet. They were indentured servants in that first little batch of people that came over who were able to become free at that time. And then they were, because you could, as long as you converted to Christianity, then you could become a human and then you could become a slave. You wouldn't be a slave anymore. And then they reneged on that and said, well, Black people are 3/5 of a human being, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, I hear you, Kemet. I think the construct of race is manipulative and evil, and it is definitely, look how it's, we joke about it, and of course I know it's a jest, but in reality, this whole light skin, dark skin thing, good hair, bad hair, colorism, all these broad nose, narrow nose, big lips, thin lips, too much hips, whatever. All stupid. All of these things. It's like somebody else's lens has been put over yours, and several lenses, and so we don't see things as we should. And like you said, if you believe in a higher power, take religion out of it. Obviously, there's something higher than all of us because we live on this great planet that seems to just keep on trucking as much as we try and smash it up. You know what I mean? As long as we drive. And I don't know, man. The thing in the Capitol is not surprising, like you said, because of the history of America. And really, this is America. This is the American ways of doing things. It's how the country was founded. Everything's taken by force. I won't go into my illusion for that. But it's still kind of scary. It's still kind of scary that in 2021, we could still be going through this nonsense. It's like, I don't know. I was born in the 80s. I always say I grew up in the Benetton generation. I call it naive kid. You know, I had black friends and white friends and Indian friends and Spanish friends and this and that. And it all seemed great till I became an adult. And people started treating you different and looking at you different. Thankfully, most of my friends did not change. But I've met many of their friends who are like, you know, why is this black person in your house? I mean, they don't say it. It's like, you know, like that look like, who's that?
If I know that look, ask me if I know that look. Yeah.
Charlie
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know that look.
I think I wanted to say, just to shout out, that's why I'm a little bit excited to have Senator Genevieve Whitaker and Janelle Quesaro sitting in the 34th legislature, because Jen's platform, her Senator Whitaker's platform, has constantly been about decolonization, has constantly been about parity, equity, looking at policy, about fair, grounded policy. And Senator Sarro, with the removal of the statues, she too has positioned herself and spoke up for things that have to do with decolonizing our spaces. So to have people in the Senate who are not afraid of these conversations, afraid of taking time to put those things on the record, is exciting. Truthfully, I have not heard in my paying attention to the Senate, maybe with the exception of Myron Jackson, Senator Myron Jackson, being bold enough to kind of name those things, and integrate them into the way that we have conversations. So I'm looking forward to an interesting 34th legislature with the newly elected 15 that we have. And my thing is, from our elected senators, who do you guys think also might be bold enough and willing to stand with them in those types of conversations?
Okay, before we get into that answer, quick little interjection. I think that we as a people, all of us need to get more involved. So before we say, okay, who do we think we can rely on in the Senate to do XYZ? What are we doing? You know, how many of us actually voted? How many of us actually participated in the process? Even if you say, okay, I didn't vote, but, you know, I went out to the polls and how many of us actually participate in the same system that govern us? We need to do better at being involved. We cannot keep on looking at politicians to solve all the answers and to provide. And if we do hire them, we have to hold them accountable. We can't say, okay, well, I vote for him and I done. No, once you vote for him, check to make sure he's doing the job you asked him to do. Check to make sure she is on point with the same platform that she projected at the beginning of her tenure. Is it the same platform that she's pushing forward right now? We have to hold people accountable and stop with this. Oh, well, that's my uncle, that's my cousin, that's my best friend, that's my drinking partner. That he had the best fish fry. Why, you know, Spectrum Band, we're gonna be there. We have to stop all that, because it's really, look at what it's doing to our community. Look at what it's doing to our culture. It is diminishing. And meanwhile, people are coming in from everywhere. Okay, and you know that. I don't want to call them out. From everywhere and starting to gobble up pieces of the same VI that is very difficult to share out because there's not much of it. So before we say one of our senators is going to be I just wanted to say that each one of us has to be more responsible for making sure that they are responsible for us.
Can I highlight two things that you said that I loved, Vernon? Loved, loved, loved. Like if this was like emoji world, you'd have like hearts, 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 hearts. You said, there's like seriously, you said you used the phrase if we hired. The community have to be involved, speak up, and have active participation. That's the only way things are going to change. Yes, Miss Samuel is seconding you, Vernon, and like yeah, all eyes have it. You know, Robert's rules. Joking.
Yeah.
But you said higher, and I think that's an important mindset shift. That when we elect somebody, we are actually hiring them to do a job. They
Yeah,
are hired to do a job, so we need to know what their job specs are, and we need to hold them accountable. And so that like I love because it made it simple for me. I hired my senators, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to hold them accountable. And then second, you also told us pay attention. Like, did they keep their platform? Are they listening to constituents? Are they demonstrating the values of Virgin Islanders? And like low key, like the quickest answer is, do we feel like they're selling us out?
That's it.
Because the piece of the Virgin Islands that being given away, like I said, a lot of it is on invitation. If you
Okay.
speak to some of these
yes.
developers, if you speak to some of these people,
Oh,
one of them told me, so and so told me to come here. He came to look for me and said I should do this here. So
Mm-hmm.
it is, while there are some people just moving here, a lot of this again is we think the answer to our problems is
Outside help and
outside
money.
investors, people who are not from here somehow are better than us. And that's part of that internalized oppression piece, right? When you look out, when you don't see yourself as capable. And so if our leaders don't see us as capable of building the Virgin Islands, then we have a problem with the people we elect in. And then second, I think is that we have to be comfortable at living at scale because we don't let all these people give us lofty promises and we don't vote for them and they don't never happen. So we still ain't progressing, but we don't want to have real conversations that is rooting in living our life at scale for right now. Nobody don't want to, you know, good governor map, bad governor map. That was one of the things that he called for, right? I remember in the beginning saying that this is like an austere time in the Virgin Islands when he gave his state of the territory. I want to believe that Governor Brian also mentioned austerity, right? Like we need to actually be counting our pennies and being good stewards of them. But I mean, we have to scale down a little bit,
Mm.
right? We can't be competing with the Joneses, and those that's just not a
Maybe.
good.
We don't have the resources to compete with the Joneses.
Yeah, but why? I
Yeah.
don't
but
even
you know
want
what?
to be a Jones. My last name is Akberry. It's fine,
Hello.
right? Like so, I keep Ayo Jones last name. I got a good, Kunta Kinte kind of like last name. I got African name someplace inside of me that I want to know what tribe that from. Let's do
Thanks.
that.
Thank you.
Um. So yeah. Anyway, I'm
Yes.
loving this conversation, even if I'm
Yes.
being.
Yes, sister. Keep preaching. I like that.
Right? I forget what I was gonna say now. I'm all riled up.
And the show's done.
Senator.
But you know,
Mic drop.
I was gonna make this point, right? Like Vernon said, we hired them, right? But here's the thing that we do in the Virgin Islands, right? We vote somebody in, right? And we just hope by doing this vote, like it's like we win in the lottery, that we do this one thing and everything's supposed to all be better, right? So if you look at every modern society, you have to work on it every day, like or every year, or whatever you want to call it, right? Um, our society doesn't just work; it takes work from the people. There's always changes that have to happen. What we do in the Virgin is like, I vote for somebody, and then they didn't do what they said we're gonna do. Oh, I'm not gonna vote no more because it's worthless to me. And it's like we need to get back to the civics, understand that our democracy, or you want to call it republic, is something that has to be built upon every time. And we just really need to know that because we just hoping for just to vote one person and it's supposed to fix all of it, and that's not how it works.
But I
And
think one of the issues is, and it's unfortunate, is that the pool is so shallow in terms of, and I had the comment earlier when we was talking about, the us the Virgin Islands trying to be like the U.S. in some ways, where you have your 1%, But the unfortunate reality is, I know Frank doesn't like. Is it Frank or someone that doesn't like brain drain?
Summer.
But
I
that's
see that.
that's
I
that's
don't like that
real.
it happens, but the phrase is fine with
The
me.
phrase, yeah, it's real, and unfortunately, sorry, Summer. Unfortunately, what's what's I need to be careful about how I say this, because the minds that are left that would make good politicians won't run for political office. And
Okay.
unfortunately, the majority of the minds that do run for political office, notwithstanding the handful that are actually either book smart or street smart or have common sense, or is genuinely for the progression of the Virgin Islands. Um, you only have that handful of individuals that makes it almost impossible for decisions to get passed, needing the majority vote. Um, because a lot of politicians over the years in the VI have just not been bright, and it's unfortunate that's they, like someone was saying, they want to be like the U.S., but unfortunately they can't be like the U.S. because they don't have the capacity to think and make critical decisions, or surround themselves with individuals that can think and make critical decisions.
Listen, I am
So
so that was the most you had me rolling because I was like, Kemet is being so diplomatic with his
you did
words.
so
Come
good.
through
You did so
2021.
good.
Look at
I'm
God.
38
You
now,
was like
so
you
I got
diplomatic.
a couple new gray hairs. Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
sweating for you. I was like, oh
I
God,
you see
where
me
you
look.
at?
I was like, where is it? He was
I
like,
saw
I'm gonna
all
say
y'all
this.
faces. I was
I'm
like, oh,
I'm
red
gonna say this
hair.
technically correctly.
But yeah,
But you did,
Oh,
and I hear
I
we
like what you said.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, if PoliTalks is a show where we get to talk, to speak our truth as we observe it and experience it, like it's worth saying that we have an issue with the quality of leader
hmm
that has been elected, the quality of leader that is put forth by political parties, and the most missing. They're not leaders. You use the word. They're
politics. Yeah.
politicians. Leaders have a level of vision and integrity
hmm
and don't just play party politics.
hmm
They're not just people who are assigned a tag, and
They're not
because they
worried
have
about the
got
next vote.
that tag, you see, the people who don't move up, there's a difference between a manager and a leader. And what we do is we've taken people who
Ah,
have the capacity to manage.
Manage.
So I move in a government system because I know how to check people time card and how to fill out a procurement this and how to do that. And so they give me more and more people to manage, but not to lead. And then we take these managers because they've come up through the ranks of management and the ranks of management within a specific political party. And all of a sudden now, good manager means good leader, but a leader is actually something quite different than a manager. And we need managers, and a leader should have management qualities, but a leader should also have leadership qualities,
hmm
which include
amen.
integrity and
Vision.
character and vision. And this is NPR, but I think I could say they also have to have a level of ballsiness, like they have to
hmm
stand and say what's right for their people. And they don't have to let their choices be predicated on whether they will be accepted by their little political clique,
Or
um,
not.
or their own personal legacy. I heard someone say the other
Yes.
day, which was the most integral thing I've ever heard someone say, and I don't know her name, and but she said she was finishing. Basically, what she said is the reason why she didn't run for office this year is because she was finishing the job that she signed up to do, and she didn't want to leave. That job was so important. She didn't want to leave that job unfilled because of the trickle effect, the ripple effect it could have had for the territory. I watched that lady and I was like, Miss, I would vote for you any day of the week because that's
Any
a
day. You text me her name, okay?
I will text you. That's a leadership quality. That's somebody who put the territory above their own personal legacy. Who else doing that? We see people dropping a drop left and right just to get a title. And it's because them
And a better
titles come
salary.
with perks.
hmm
Perks.
And they too play a role in keeping the people at the Virgin Islands dumb with their semantics and their game playing and their
hmm
posturing because they're trying to distract us from what them not doing their job. This is all like, I'm sorry, it seems like it's all about them. There are a few senators on that floor that I feel are actually concerned about me. the citizen of the Virgin Islands.
Mhm.
And few of them have
It's
respect for me because if you call and try to have a conversation, now that they ain't send it, they're so super busy they can't take a call. When they would have talked to you anytime before, but now they can't stop and watch you in your eye. And those are the things that makes me think who's a manager and who's a leader and who's a person of integrity, right? Because all people of the Virgin Islands are deserving of your time. You are a public servant. You
Yes.
can't be too busy for me who elect you.
Okay then, because you the
Not
boss.
on a word, public
Come on, the boss.
servants.
I's your boss. What do you
Guys,
mean?
everybody, I have to head out soon, right? But
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. We had mentioned the term the brain drain, right, Kemet?
Sorry.
And yes, no, don't apologize because honestly, it's something
Ukrainian Exodus.
No, it's a valid point and it's a valid comment. But I will say this: look at this room right now that we are here talking. Right, we have people that are of the same age range. They're different. We are in different industries or whatnot, but we are all fairly well educated and well spoken and this and that. And that we're not the only ones. There's 20 some odd people listening and following us right now, and there'll be more, including that. And back in the day, I had the pleasure of co-founding the Young Professionals Network in St. Thomas. And one thing I noticed about that experience was we have a lot of people here in the VI that are capable and just unwilling. It's not that we have a brain drain. It's that the brains that are here are disenfranchised, disinterested, disillusioned, they're depressed, and no longer do we have the faith in the systems that governed us, that we watched govern us as youths. So now we're adults, and now we have an education, and now we have opportunities that don't include this. And you want us to spend our time and our effort and our money to come and fix the problems that you had no interest in listening to us about when we were children. And so this is where I see it's not a brain drain. It's just that the brains that we have, we're not interested in participating in this system that has no, like right now, what are we offering our children? So now the children grow up and the VI has not given them playgrounds to play on, after school programs, extracurriculars, all these things are not available. So then when they're adults now, we want them to come back and give us what? It's not fair. We have to give them something before we ask them for anything. And that's the last little piece of whatever I had to say. I just wanted to make that brain drain comment. But thank you all for including me in this conversation. I intend to be here next week. Let's keep it going. I really love this conversation. Summer, I want that t-shirt, don't play.
We got this. We got this.
Okay, all right, cool. All right. I come and say
February, $35 a piece. Send your pre-orders by message, text.
All right. I'll be on St. Croix on the 6th, so check me.
35 for Crucian, 75 for St. Thomians.
Whoa. That's a St. Thomas tax.
Hold on, St. Thomas tax. This one lady is listen, St. Thomians, we gain the same price.
We're trying to bridge the gap. We're gonna bring you out.
Okay, I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.
Brennan, I ban on St. Thomas, and some people here went to school on St. Thomas. We won't. They like to say they ban on St. Croix, but we know they're equally as much as St. Thomian as the person born on St. Thomas.
There's one VI, okay? One VI. Let me just make that statement.
One VI. I would be wrong. Is this the right?
That's it.
That's right. You get it right.
I've seen it right on my side. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Love y'all.
Thank you,
Easy,
Brennan, for adding
thanks
so
for
much
joining us.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a brother. Easy.
But yeah, I think just to follow up on that, I think Vernon is right. I think, and we've said it a number of times. We do have the talent. It's just, when you look at all the systems that are broken, it can seem like it's an impossible fix. But I think what's actually needed is, it's just to strategize and organize. And I think if you
take the words out of my mouth.
like-minded people that would run together. And just say, hey, this is the group. This is what we want to do as a group, and we are committed to working with each other to get this done. To level up the VI, to have things change. I think you could get some really good support from the community, the wider community, to make it happen. And if you marry that with taking the governor's office also, that group, the 15 senators plus the the governor and the lieutenant can be a really powerful group. And so just tossing that out there, you know, someone looking around, but I honestly think things will change in the VI when progressive thinkers, and not talking about progressive like progressive versus liberals, but when truly progressive thinkers get together and regardless of party, go in and start to run the government for the people. The only other comment that I had for that is it's not just a VI thing. We saw that in the at the biggest office that you could hold in the U.S. 4 years ago. Stuff happens, and so the art of spineless individuals rising and being the puppet to a handful of
You just say spineless
entrepreneurs.
individuals.
It's not coming to the VI. It's not only a thing of the Virgin Islands. It happens in many places. We go through that here in Florida also. When I hear the governor of Florida speak, I often have to turn the channel because I'm like, this guy is just an idiot. I'm sorry, but so it's not unique to the VI, but I think we should continue to advocate for a like-minded group to run together and start to make changes, and that's what I had to add there. But like Summer asked us about which senator we think would make progress or would be aligned in terms of similar to Senator Thoreau and Senator Whitaker. And I think this is a forum where we can like hold people accountable, and I'll defer to you Summer and Frank, but I think we've been doing it. I've been doing it anyway. But I think people in the community need platforms to be able to share their thoughts, and maybe it's us hearing from the senators on how they're staying true to course. So just that.
So I want to say two things. I'm going to keep my mind open. Like I know specifically I'm looking for something particular out of my leaders, right? And I think you're absolutely right, Kemet, when we talk about this is a platform where we could actually bring things to light. We could actually hold people accountable. If you are a regular to PoliTalks, I think what you can expect in 2022 is in 2021 is this year is more transparency around what's actually happening, right? Like we don't have these conversations all the time. I think like Kemet does bring the real on PoliTalks every week. I think we have been quite tempered. I'm not saying we're going to go rogue, but just like, really assessing what's happening and sharing from our perspectives and the perspectives, hopefully, of you all in the community where we want to go, and helping this be a platform that amasses some critical mass and power. I hope in 2021 that our viewers actually click the link and come on and spend 5 to 10 minutes with us, making their voice heard. And like, that's my mom in the back, everybody, if you're hearing that clacking.
Hi, Mom.
Mommy, everybody say hi, including the people on Facebook.
Hi.
And she said hi. And like, join us in your voice. And if you have ideas and if you have topics, message us. Like, we need more people to join the conversation.
Please.
And I wanted to say that I want to have an open mind. I want to see the 34th legislature be successful. I want to see our sitting governor have a successful next 2 years where he's showing us all the things that maybe we have not been able to see that is thriving. Like, I want the Virgin Islands to win. And so the Virgin Islands winning means that all my elected leaders, all my sitting commissioners, like I actually have to believe that they can do their job and be open to them doing it. So I'm hoping, right? So I'm gonna try to switch my frame because I'm always looking for what people are not doing. I'm gonna try to flip my hold people accountable, but look to see what's being done, right? Like come from a different perspective and set the bar of what my expectation is and believe that they're not going to disappoint me. But if they do disappoint me, I want everybody to know I will name it. Right? I'm not so like nobody don't have to worry about Summer throwing shade, coming after them, having a pre-assumed position.
Nope.
Look, I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to have an expectation of success. I'm going to trust you in good faith. And if you cross that good faith, I will name it. And is naming it as an opportunity for you to correct it and address it, right? Me hunting for nobody. This is our Virgin Islands. And I think the one thing that the people on this call, Darren in his welcome mentioned Clubhouse, and he was really excited. And I think the reason why he mentioned it though is because Darren is a young Virgin Islander always looking for a place to contribute to the success of the Virgin Islands. And I feel like I could say that about Kemet, I could say that about Frank, I could say that about Sydney, I could say that about everybody, Maurice, everybody who comes on this show have been people, Vernon, Imani, like people who actually their greatest wishes for the Virgin Islands to succeed, right? And so I'm gonna put that lens out there. I'm gonna be in conversation with as much people as I can, and we're gonna see where it leads. Because if what the one thing you said is true, Kemet, if we don't start naming the things that they're not doing that are in our best interest, we know for damn sure they're gonna continue to do them.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know somebody watching. Somebody who loves them as Virgin Islanders, but the best interest of Virgin Islanders is what I care about.
Exactly. Hey, I don't know what I did want to give one big up to one of our new senators. I don't know what he proposed, but big ups to Samuel Carrion for putting in bills on in his first couple of days. That's almost unheard of. We got a lot of senators who sit around and don't propose nothing for the entire time they're in office, or they just sit on and hold on to things and try and, do them Hail Marys so that people could pay attention around voting time. So like you said, I think that people who are leaders, people who are going to take initiative, people who are going to work in the best interest of the people, and not like sometimes in the interest of the people, but really and truly your focus is on self, is how we're going to move forward. Somewhere I'm with you. I have an open mind about what we're going to be doing moving forward with this current legislative body in 2021, 2022, the 34th legislature. For me, Janelle, Senator Sorrow is my gal to the ground. I mean, I've known her for 20 plus years. I know what she stands for. I know her integrity and her work ethic. And I know that I'm very pleased that she is a leader in the Senate currently. And, I'm very glad that Genevieve has finally been given the opportunity to, show us what she could do. Because I know that she has great ideas. She has a great platform. I agree with a lot of the things that she's been working on over the years in regards to decolonization for all peoples, especially Virgin Islanders. And, in regards to the rest of the legislative body, I don't know many of the other new senators. I do know Senator Carrion, and I want to reiterate, great job hitting the ground running. But everybody else who's currently in office, some people I did vote for, and I'm holding an open mind and hoping that they will do their jobs to the fullest and best of their ability. And I think I agree with what you said, Summer. I think that with how things are going, now is the time to really pay attention and hold people accountable, and not just get swayed and dismayed by the frou brouhaha and bullshit. I think that I think that if we really pay attention to their work, we can make better and sound decisions. I just remembered a thought that I had earlier when what Vernon was talking about, and I meant to bring it up when I called his name. Was about was a communications major in school, so he did a degree in communications and marketing. And I remember one time when we were talking about marketing, that marketing in the 21st century is all about subliminal messaging, playing into people's subconsciouses, um, marketing and advertising to the lowest common denominator. So, really dumbing things down. And I think that America is a master marketer. And I think that us in our position, many people have followed suit with that. It's like if you market yourself appropriately, only the few people who really see what you're doing know the truth. Today, when I had a little meeting with some of my potential staff, one of the mentions, I think, was how people lie on resumes. And people do lie on resumes. How many times do you see somebody come in and take over from somebody else because they look amazing on paper, and then they ruin the whole operation? They kill the job. They don't do it well because, one of the things that I think that I know that I am a brand. I also think that every person is becoming a brand, and it's creating some sort of weird competition amongst people. It monetizes everything. I really don't like the way that we're moving in that direction. To me, everybody and everything doesn't need to be a brand. But it seems like in this age, especially the digital age and social media age, it requires so much marketing of self to literally sell to people. And that's how people judge you and think about you and whatever else. And I don't remember where I was going with this, but I just wanted to point that out.
So
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
Frank, let me respond to you for a second, right? Because I'm in a workspace where I have to deal with new employees and coach them to success, right? So I think is also, I won't say it's so much about lying on the resume. I think it's about what you're coming in with, right? Do you come in with an ego, right? Because people come in with egos, or they develop an ego so they think they're bigger than what they actually are. And then we talk about managers and leaders, right? You could be hired to be a manager, right? But to be successful, you gotta be a leader. So I wanted to say is, I think people have to come with a mindset of coming to try to what can I contribute versus I am me and you need to cater to me so I could do what I can do. So when we get to the point where we come together and like, yo, I could contribute this. And I may not be good at this, but I could contribute this. And we kind of work with each other versus not just working on ourselves. I think that will solve a lot of the societal issues that we have.
But I think it's bigger than that, because I don't think it's just ego. I think it's a big part of it is understanding the difference between self-worth and ego, right? There are a lot of people that, and our society is a big component to this, and in allowing people to develop egos that shouldn't have egos. I'm not going to call any names, but there's a lot of people that walk around in the Virgin Islands that think they're just so awesome, and to the masses that might be kind of cool, but when you sit back and objectively look at them and what they've done and whatnot, that's not the case. So I think we need to, one, get out of that habit of falsely boosting egos. But when you look at our society, that's just what it's been. The fact that, and we've had this conversation before, Frank, the fact that, what was it, the show on MTV, like Teen Mom or 16 and Pregnant, is some stupidness like that. But the fact that
it was 16 and Pregnant, and then it was Teen Mom for about 8 years after.
The fact that that's a thing, like
those chicks became rich just for being pregnant in high school.
If you were a minor and you got pregnant, it was a huge issue. And now it's like some of those people are celebrated for it, and that's far away from where I was going with some of the politicians that we have in the territory. But we've look at the fact that we've called 3 names of senators tonight that we're excited about. There's there's something wrong with that, because they're 15, and I know all of them thinks that they've arrived, but at the end of the day, this is work. It's again, it should always be reminded that they're public servants, and they're here to work on the behalf of the people that have hired them to make the Virgin Islands a better place for us. But yeah, I think, Darren, that's one of the things. Like, self-worth is one thing, like realizing that what you have and what you contribute to the community, and it goes back to what Frank was saying earlier about the people that do things for self versus the people that do things to make serious contributions to their society and their community. And then the others that are like the Kanyes, and well, he has a number of other issues also, but they're people like the Kanyes and the and others that are there for self. And I think we need to be very clear about who we give energy to, who we give power to, going back to what Summer was talking about, because everybody is not worth like the fact that what the U.S. went through on January 6th in the Capitol, they went through that over Donald Trump. Like, that's just absurd. Like, he's not worth any of that. But that's what we do, not just in the VI, but everywhere else. We give power and allow people to develop ego when they're not worth it, and we need to stop that. I didn't call any names in the VI.
Hey, Kemet, I think the term you're looking for is overachiever.
No,
not even
no.
Reachers?
No.
Yeah, man.
2021, all of Facebook know what's going on in Valerie House. That's the neighbor who wants a siren. If you ever need a siren and a t-shirt, hit me up, Facebook. Oh, this fan to the office door is open. It's just lit around here. They should have been here for the pre-show, right, guys? You got to get more litty. But what I wanted to say is, I think that what you're talking about, so in the education system, there is this lady named Carol Dweck, and Carol Dweck did a presentation talking about making children actually earn, right? Right now, mommy, jeez. Right now, it is that what we do is, like, we have people who may be smart or may be doing well, and because they do well on one test, we don't ever give them the rigor necessary to become excellent. So we have people who are average walking around like they're performing, and they have the potential to be excellent, but they're just giving us average and receiving praises for average all the time, instead of us pushing them to give us excellence. So I think that's what Kemet's talking about. Us acting like people average is excellent, right?
Yes. That's why we settle for mediocrity so much.
And so even like in PoliTalks, that was a conversation among ourselves. How do we push this show to become excellent? Because it's what Virgin Islanders deserve. Like, if we're going to have these type of conversations, they need to be meaningful. They need to be real. They need to have a level of rigor to them. They need to have a level of excellence. They need to be inspirational. That people need to critically think. Like, people need to get off of line watching something we said and feel so moved to go research Title 17, to go follow senators, to go find out what's going on in the nation, not just for our average, because, you know, we all are people, Vernon said it, who have a level of articulateness to us. Kemet's really eloquent. Summer likes to drop the mic. Darren is, filled with passion. Like, Frank knows every random detail about a thing that's possible, like that. But we could BS our way through that. Like, we could all come on a show and BS our way through that. And do the people of the Virgin Islands deserve that? No. So it's looking for leadership that says, so I could give these people my minimum, but that's actually not the bar. The bar is being fully present and bringing our excellence, which also means admitting when you haven't achieved it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that is we have people who operate in subpar and then they try to make you swallow it instead of saying, hey, I missed the bar, right?
Right.
Um,
Or I
so
ain't reached the bar yet. Still
um,
going for it.
I'm gonna go on mute now because I'm upsetting our excellent with not having my office door closed, but there's no fan right here. So like 60 people then yeah with us tonight participating in PoliTalks live from Summers PoliTalks bar, the whole of
Party.
the village. They are with our
Tell Sharon I say hello.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Well,
but yeah,
wow. Brains all over the
Take a
place.
second. Take
I'm
a
sorry.
second.
I just had a little. Whoo-sa.
you thinking about campaign slogans
I
for
have a
the next 2
question.
years?
Do you think, as PoliTalks, and this is a random question, viewers, I also want your answers. Do you think we should start inviting people who are in Senate to come join us? Like maybe we feature a politician every once in a while. The bar closing the door, they say, let's there. Since
Campaign mommy style.
she come and she close the door, like, yeah,
Ask
you
the
have
question
you
again,
want to
please.
Sweat.
Do you think that we should invite senators or political officials onto the show for
yeah,
any of our topics?
yeah, because I feel like I don't know any of them. Like honestly, I haven't followed their careers. I've never had a conversation with most of them. So the people that I'm able to comment about is people who I have been in conversation
Who you
with.
see?
But
Yeah,
I would like to be fair to all of the senators to give them an opportunity to be in conversation with us. Um,
I
and
vote yes.
and I also
And
want
I
to
would.
know what our viewers would like to see. Would they like to see senators and commissioners on this platform with us every once in a while? Not all the time where it's like a strictly political kind of.
Right.
Well, that's what I have. Is one question. Do you think that if we get that's what I'm gonna call them for now, our politicians to come on the show, are they going to participate in our conversations as people, or are they going to try and politicize being on the show? Because that's my primary concern,
Yeah.
and I'm curious. I'm just curious. Do you think that a senator, for instance, can come on the show and be candid, honest, and truthful, and not, well, no, diplomacy is necessary. That's not the word that I'm looking for.
Not give us a 6 or a 9.
Yes, that. Not answer us in a political fashion,
Yeah.
and not stick to what we're talking about. You know what I mean?
I think there are ways that we can structure it. I think if it's well outside of campaign season, that would be a nudge for me. Because then we're not talking about
So now is a perfect time.
a dire need to say something that people want to hear to get back in. But I think what one of the things that we can do is, they already have put out like which senators are over which committee. And I think that that's one of the things that we can do is, although they
Certainly.
can't answer us, answer for everyone. I think as a committee chair, when we talk about health and human services, we should be able to welcome that senator on, the senator that chairs that committee. When we talk about education, I think Genevieve is actually chairing that committee, if I read that correctly. But we should be able to bring somebody like her on, and I think that might be one of the ways that we make it work. But I think that it would be good to hear from them.
Committee on Health, Hospitals, and Human Services is Senator Nobel France.
Yeah. But I think it would be beneficial for us to, since we've been talking about people listening to them, listening to their platform, and then holding them accountable. I think it's only fair if we would invite some of the senators on here. Well, all at one point in time, not at the same time, but invite them on to hear what they have to share, and then we can reference the conversation what we have. We can make suggestions. They might be able to take the same way that I think was Senator Degazan in the past that had listened to conversations at PoliTalks and then had ideas that she could bring back to the Senate floor. So I think in as much as we would like to advocate for change and hope that we do see change, I think that we will get there the more that they hear us and are involved in conversations with us.
Yeah, I think that your structure is a great way to do it. When we have topics that, are appropriate and juxtaposed with their positions, I think that's a perfect way to bring them into the fold. And, it'll give us and our viewers and listeners an opportunity to really see if they're worth their salt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing is that this is PoliTalks is a dynamic conversation, right? We have a topic and it kind of snowballs into its own, the topic shapes itself based on, lived experience, current news, feedback somebody gives. So it's going to be an interesting setting for a senator who's coming into an open conversation that has a topic, but really could roll in any direction and it could expand. And so I'm interested in building that relationship, because if this is really a platform that's going to help educate people and help us all get a clearer view of who's in office and who we could build relationship with to make the Virgin Islands, to secure the Virgin Islands we so much care about. I think we have a responsibility to use this platform in that way. But and I just want to plug, it's not just senators, citizens. Listen, if anybody out there, please message us and talk to us and tell us, hey, I have a topic, or I'd like to be a part of a specific topic, because it's tonight, it's the four of us, but PoliTalks was meant for the Virgin Islands.
It's an open forum. It's an open conversation.
It just happens that it anchors the frame of that open forum is us, the regulars. It is not exclusive to us. We want to, there's an open invitation for other Virgin Islanders to join us in any day with any thought around these things that we're talking about. Come on, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If it's something longer, you endeavor to do, inbox us so we could have you on as a whole show guest. Not just like you click the link, but I just, it's 2021 and it's really time to help this platform do what it's supposed to do, which is engage community and help power the change that has to happen for this territory to really benefit all people living in the Virgin Islands. I mean, Kemet, you have such a lofty vision about deracializing the world, the territory, and that's a beautiful. I don't think it's the same thing as being colorblind. I think it's that we acknowledge that other races exist, but the label is unnecessary.
Right.
The label is actually unnecessary because it just is.
Yeah, and it's biologically false.
We don't actually need. We don't have to attribute those things to it, because those are stereotypes. Those are tropes. Mm-hmm. There's human beings are human beings across the spectrum of our biology, right? And so we actually don't have to assign something to a Black person, a white person, an Asian person.
You don't have to assign anything to anyone.
Exactly.
Why we get caught up in all these labels.
Yeah, and that's the only concern that we should have is cool people versus crappy people, and there are a lot of crappy people, and that's what it is. It's regardless of race. You have, or cool the pseudo construct that is race, regardless of the complexion of you as a person. Some people are cool and some people aren't, and that's it.
Straight up.
I'm asking. Am I cool, Kemet? I'm just asking
Yeah.
you.
I wouldn't be
If you
you
said
weren't.
no,
My brother said it to me a long time ago. It just naturally happens anywhere you are in the world. Cool people together, and all the rest of the people are what Kemet said.
Okay, no, but seriously, the night conversation was beautiful, and it was not the topic that we posted. So, do we want to take some time to discuss
Yes.
the legislature, our hopes for
We
it,
should.
who's in office, the next 15? We know everybody knows it. I think our conversation was beautiful, but Justin, somebody might have tuned in because they actually wanted to hear that stuff. So
I think everything ties in appropriately. So that's my take on that.
anyway,
I will just list the 34th legislature is made up of 15 senators. The president of the legislature. Huh?
You're like, fine. The 34th legislature is made up of 15.
Jonathan Gregory is the president of the legislature. The vice president was going to be Novelli Francis. The majority leader is Marvin A. Blyden. The secretary and the liaison to the U.S. Department of the Interior is Genevieve Whitaker. The liaison to the White House is Kenneth L. Gittens. And the Secretary of Intergovernmental and Territorial Affairs is Novelli Francis. In addition to those senators, we also have Samuel Carrion. We have Dwayne M. DeGraff. We have Alma Francis Heiliger. We have Devon E. James. We have Franklin D. Johnson, Carla L. Joseph, Stephen D. Payne, Milton E. Potter, Janelle K. Sarro, Kurt A. Viollet, and I believe that is everybody that is in the Senate. The breakdown of those in terms of who is heading over various committees is that the Committee on Rules and Judiciary is Senator Milton Potter. The Committee on Finance chair is going to be Senator Kurt A. Viollet. I believe that was the position that he held in the previous legislature as well. The Committee on Health, Hospitals, and Human Services chair is going to be Senator Novelli Francis. The Committee on Education and Workforce Development is Senator Genevieve Whitaker. The Committee on Disaster Recovery and Infrastructure is Senator Janelle K. Sarro. Committee on Economic Development and Agriculture is Senator Kenneth L. Gittens. Committee on Homeland Security, Justice, and Public Safety. Well, I think my note got cut off. Give me 1 second.
We're on a roll.
I was doing so well.
Listen, while you were reading, I had 3 questions. Which I want to look up. So, what is the liaison to the White House? What was the other liaison? Which Genevieve is?
Liaison to the Department of the Interior.
Liaison to the Department of Interior. There's the liaison to the White House, and then there is the liaison to the intergovernment office or affairs or something like that.
It is the liaison to. Sorry, the liaison.
I know you said it was Senator Francis.
It's Vice President, Majority Leader, liaison to U.S. Department of Interior, liaison to the White House, and then the Secretary of Intergovernmental and Territorial Affairs.
I am so interested in what those jobs actually like, being on those committees or being those liaisons and being that secretary. What do they actually do? Like, what does that mean? They're really nice titles, but I didn't even know that we had those positions.
I mean, I understand the liaison to Interior and the liaison to the White House. The secretary on, I would need information on that one.
So that's going
to be. I guess that's Secretary of Intergovernmental and Territorial Affairs. I would imagine would be the secretary between all of our government agencies and everything that happens between St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John. If somebody in our audience has a little bit more information about this, please let us know. If not, I'll research it and get it for the next show. The committee. I'm gonna finish up on the committees. The Committee on Homeland Security, Justice, and Public Safety is Senator Stephen D. Payne, Sr. Committee on Government Operations and Consumer Protection, Senator Carla Joseph. I believe she's a new senator. Committee on Housing, Transportation, and Telecommunications is Chair Senator Marvin A. Blyden. Committee on Youth, Sports, Parks, and Recreation, Senator Samuel Carrion. And the Committee on the Whole Chair is Senator Donna A. Brett Gregory, and the Vice Chair is Novelli Francis.
I think something just to name, because we've already had excitement around it, is how many members are in the majority and how many members are in the minority.
I did want to say that when we started out the just before all the senators were sworn in, it was going to be a 10-5 majority. There were 10 Democrats and 5 independents. We currently have 9 Democrats and 6 independents, as one of our senators, I believe Senator Giovanni James, has left the Democratic Party just before swearing in. So he has been removed from the majority, and I believe that independent Senator Janelle Quesaro has taken over his space in the majority, and that is why she is a committee chair, if I'm not mistaken.
Senator Samuel Carrion also moved over too.
11 on the majority.
It's 11?
11.
Yeah. Sorrow and Carrion, Senator Sorrow and Senators Carrion are also now part of the majority.
Okay, cool. I did not realize that, so thank you for letting me know that. So the majority is actually 11 to 4. Why are you smirking, Sama?
That's a big majority. I mean, I think, so the legislature was off to an exciting start already, right? With the switching of Senator James, when he switched from the Democratic Party to an independent right before the inauguration. I think that in itself caused a lot of chatter. I think figuring out now 2 senators moving from the minority to the majority, and what does that mean for the minority, in terms of, when you have such a large majority and they have the ability to like caucus and kind of build political will together to pass legislation. And we're hoping they're having robust discussions, but at the end of it, like they really can push an agenda. And then you have a very small minority and asking how will they be able to leverage the legislation necessary that they want to put forth and see fit and serve the constituency. Like, I'm just interested, I learned that if there's 6 members in the minority, you have to fund the minority caucusing. And so strategically, it has made sense in the past several legislators to kind of have a majority size that make sure that there's not 6.
There's no caucus on the other side.
So the minority can caucus, but when we talk about bills being passed by building political will and having a minority, a minority that I actually think had a lot of political will in them was when Positive Nelly and Neville were all in the minority together at one point. You know what I mean? Like, even though they were a minority, they were quite strong. I don't know who else was there. I know those 3 were together, and that minority was quite a powerful minority. And so I hope, I'm just hoping that the current structure we have serves the work of the people. And the charge to all our senators is for us not to be distracted, kind of like the labels conversation we had, right? Mm-hmm. Majority, minority is kind of like the race conversation. It's really a construct that doesn't afford collaborative work across a full body of people. who are working towards the same goal. So as much as those labels exist and we already see the power struggles within them, that the 15-member body works as a 15-member body, and we could actually forget about who's in the majority and who's in the minority. And I know that doesn't serve, oh my gosh, gonna get myself in trouble, doesn't serve the Democratic engine in in the Virgin Islands, who maintains control through the exertion of a democratic agenda when they have a majority of senators that are democratic that could overpower. You know what I mean? Like, it should be what's serving the people. And I'm not saying the Democratic Party is interested in serving the people. I'm saying, in my small estimation, since I've been tracking politics, it hasn't seemed to.
Right.
And I'm open to somebody showing me where it has, because I want to put on the record that I am a novice. I'm a novice with strong opinions, but from what I know, it doesn't seem that way. So I'm open to knowing more, right? I'm open to somebody teaching me.
You're
So,
not a closed-minded novice. We
but,
are open-minded, willing to learn if there's something factual to replace what we say.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to when we talked about being progressive and organizing, and seeing how we can move the Virgin Islands forward. And if there's anybody out there, I've recently talked with some local Virgin Islanders who have formed a group where they're trying to organize. You can follow them on Instagram at Kane Cuttaz. That's Kane, C-A-N-E, Cuttaz, C-U-T-T-A-Z. Follow them on Instagram, and I think that it's a good platform, at least for progressive people just like this, to be able to link up, talk, and otherwise. So follow them. But also, please come join this conversation. You know, there's a link on Facebook at the beginning of every show in the comments there where you can actually click that link and come participate in the actual conversation. We do love everybody who participates in the comments. So if you're more comfortable with that, please continue to do so. And please share PoliTalks with your friends. By no means is this meant to be a closed conversation amongst the four of us, or the 8 or 9 potential regulars that come on this show. I mean, from day one, we've always invited the public, and really and truly, I think one idea that we all kind of have is that you got to hold one head, and I think that we need us to collectively come up with the ideas to move us forward progressively, so that we can all win together. And I hope that people do realize is that at least one thing that we are all collectively passionate about is the fact that we really want to see the Virgin Islands prosper as a whole. We want to see it be sovereign. We want to see it be sustainable. We want to see it be secure. We want to see people be able to come together, work together, not go hungry, and people to be happy. I think it's important that we set this place up so that our future generations will be able to live and experience it with the same amount of joy that we have fortunately been able to. Exactly.
Been growing up. Yeah.
I want to ask Ayo a question, because he's like, when you said sovereign, I wonder if people listening think that we have a set agenda, because like, there's certain words that we use, like progressive, sovereign, secure, decolonize, systems change, and like for people entering a new sphere of conversation, like what that means, it could probably actually feel quite exclusionary if people don't know if they're for it or not, right? And so I just wanted to add to your charge for people to call us, because working collectively together doesn't mean that we all have the same voice. In this group, No, I saying that for people listening. I know what you mean by it, but I saying this as the invitation. You don't have to agree with us to be part of the show. You don't have to want what like we're using language. Don't let our language make you feel like there's not a true invitation. Because if you talk to any of us on or off, like where innovation is found is in difference, right? So there's so much things that we don't agree on, and there's lots of things that we do. And I was just listening and I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if our language is a barrier, right? Because often we have people who watch us and people who watch us regularly, but I don't see people clicking the link. And so just wanted to listen, every and any part of the conversation is how we work collectively. Because if we're not talking to each other, then none of this don't make sense. So you actually don't have to agree with us to be on the show. You just have to want to share your opinion in the most respectful manner possible while being honest.
And sometimes you find the answer right in the middle.
Correct. But that's where the answer always is.
In the disagreement.
The answer is always in the middle of difference, right? The true answer for how a society as diverse as ours will exist is somewhere in the middle. And so I just wanted to say that, because when you said, I was like, oh wow, I know that I do in my systems change work that I get to do with the outside. One of the things that we have learned is that language is a barrier. When we use words that people that are familiar to us and comfortable to us, that are comfortable to people, and they don't necessarily know where we're going with that language, or that language has a connotation, the denoted and the connoted is quite different. It makes people it makes people, and what we're actually trying to say has different meaning. People kind of be like, I'm watching them, but I don't know if I want to join a song, a little radical for me. And then there's also the thing we've talked about, about the punitive nature of our very small society, where people probably, don't share the same benefit. Like for the most part, everybody on this show is either privately employed or works for themselves. Like they work in private sector, or they're their own consultant. So we have some license that we're not dependent on the systems that we're analyzing for our living. And so that's another barrier that I think I'm wondering, are people out there I'd love to join the show, but I gotta hold back, because we live in a punitive society that if I say something that my boss don't like, or that my boss think is offensive, I gonna be sent home.
My boss, cousin, friend, sister.
And they misquote me. And they
but it's barely
punitive.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Come on, as long as you're not a Karen, your name can be Karen, but just don't be a Karen. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Hey, I'm just saying, they brought me on the show. Say if I could be on the show, anybody could be on the show.
Anybody could be on the show.
Fuck.
Eric can do it. Anyone can.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Oh man.
So yeah, we almost made it through our first episode of 2021. I hope that our audience is out there excited about the level of conversation that we have. I hope that they appreciate the authenticity that we bring. And Facebook land, I hope you guys join us every week. So we in closing yet, but I want you to comment, share. That's something that we need so we could build up a following, so we could keep this conversation going. Please tell us what you want to see more of. Comment on the whether or not we should invite local leaders onto the show and in what frequency. Comment. Great idea, inviting senators to hear them add to the different topics. Thank you. Because in 2021, our goal, and I think we've all talked about this, is to step it up. If we want an effective Senate body, and we're assessing the Senate body for the next 2 years, and even we're assessing the governor, the charge is no. So we need potential leaders, people who are interested. We need people to be selected and nominated. Listen, if you know somebody out there that you think would make a great senator, nobody, don't point at me, you go point at Darren, that's fine. If you know somebody who wants to be, aspirant, someone who has the leadership criteria, you should let us know, because we want them on the show. if a person wants to be elected in 2022,
Holler at us.
23.
23,
23. Yeah.
You get elected in
23.
22, Darren. You
And
get
you serve in
sworn in.
Fair
in
23.
enough. Fair
23.
enough. I'm sorry. I'm
Then they need to
sorry.
start
Complex.
now. And
November
we
8th,
want to get to know that
2022 is the
person.
next election.
Darren
Okay?
went to the
Right? We want to
educational
get to know
complex.
all of the people so that we can figure out who we're voting for. We might be voting for the same set.
Yeah,
This set might do a great job.
an amazing job.
I'd be so happy.
Frank's
Yeah,
I think
that'd be great.
Frank's comment was very valid, or the hesitation though, and I think that if accept that invitation, being willing to contribute to the conversation and not just we talked about the egos that some people have, and just keep that in mind because there's some of us that will check you if all you want to talk about is you should hire me or you should vote for me and not talk about what the real issues are and more importantly what are some of the solutions to fixing those issues. Just have that in mind as you reach out. Just FYI. I'm named the Petty King for a very important reason. Still Capricorn season, and I mean at least we're about out of Capricorn season, so
Happy
you might
belated
be
birthday,
safe from
Clement.
like 100% of the wrath, but there's still like a good 95% that's with me the rest of the year. So
I was just about to say that
Amen.
stays here all year long. And we
I
love it.
wish you abundance of
We
guava
got
tarts.
42 episodes this year,
Yeah.
so
Darren, you owe people
Already.
cards. You should not bring
from
bring
last
cards.
year. From
Me?
last year.
Yeah,
Yeah, your mother was gonna
does
make some
Darren
tarts.
owe us tarts?
Yeah.
Okay.
We was gonna make us some tarts, Darren. Wow.
he did say that,
From last year.
Darren, don't do this on camera. We're closing out. We had a good show. Don't act like you don't know what we're talking about.
I don't make no pineapple tarts. Give us.
Nah, he wanted to use a big guava.
Guava alone.
Guava.
Guava alone.
I want pineapple tart. If I have to
No,
try
you
a
don't.
tart, I'm thinking it should be pineapple.
We don't do that to offer.
Summer. Stop.
Summer.
So
Stop
as
it.
the,
like
okay, wait, no, for real. As a non-tart eater,
Want a
I
little
should be
tart.
the person who
You
breaks
are
the
none
tie.
what?
Remember
No,
at
no,
the
no,
Christmas show, I admitted to never eating tart. Let's go. So if
Team
we are
Coconut.
going, if
Wait. Summer.
Some eat tart. Some are from St. Croix.
I go hook you up, Summer.
I
You
go
go
get
get
it
it
shut
from
that last show, Darren. Nobody's taking you serious right now. I was saying, I know what the fun is, Laura. I had a do
We
show.
go bypass Darren.
No, but I'm saying if anybody should break the ties on a tart, it should be me, the person who never eats a tart. I should eat
No,
one of
because
each.
your palate has not been refined.
Thank you.
No, like, what?
Your palate
Please
has
let
not
me
been
tart.
refined to
Please
tart.
let me tart.
Wait. Summer, you're not serious.
I am serious. I never eat tart in my life.
What?
What?
I know, it's crazy.
But I'm willing
Hey,
to.
Summer.
So I
Summer.
just need one each to break to figure out which
All
one
I
is
need
me.
is Summer.
On next
Summer.
PoliTalks, you'll see 3 of us.
Right?
Maybe so we can
Disclaimer:
get
what
some
you have to do to be on PoliTalks show? Actually, eat tart. I just write
next week
myself
on
off the
PoliTalks.
show. I bye.
One guy.
Wah.
Fired. I don't even understand this nonsense.
Oh my
Doesn't make
God!
sense.
Please, but no, seriously, I should be the tart tiebreaker.
No.
No.
Okay,
You have
this
to.
is what we're
You
gonna
have
do.
to.
I need Summer and Frank that's on island. Find us some fresh guava, and we're gonna make it happen.
Okay.
You asking the
Fresh
woman who approach
guava.
local food for a living to find you fresh guava,
Fresh
like
guava,
is that
yeah.
gonna be?
Yeah, basically,
And
yeah.
then
That's a
Listen.
Yeah,
Okay.
we want
Okay.
the fresh guava.
Okay,
done.
when guava come in season, we eat
All
it.
right.
Should be coming soon.
All right. No, but we just our guava tree gonna take some time, but I think I know some place that have one. I know people. I got people.
Don't know.
My neighbor got guava.
Anyway.
See,
I
still
still
buy
want
Goya guava. We still
no,
having Goya.
but anyway, we'll talk about this off camera.
Anyway,
We're not sticking around to hear all about our TART conversations.
it's
Frank
2021.
and are we wrapping up? Anything y'all would like to
We
say?
have 6 minutes left.
Oh,
I think
no,
that
Darren, don't talk long.
I think that it's a good start to 2021. I will say that I'm pleased. Welcome back, my people. I'm glad that my regulars came up tonight. Thanks for joining, even though Verna had to leave us early. Thanks for joining us from Rock City. Hopefully, we'll get some more of our Rock City participants. And maybe this year, somebody from Love City will take charge and join us. But I really enjoyed tonight's conversation. I'm glad that we kind of got to just get back in the groove of things, retouch on these topics, and tie things together. I think that's one thing that we generally do well on the show is that we connect the dots. We make the links of how things affect us, whether it's locally, nationally, or otherwise, whether it's something governmental or societal or whatever. So we definitely will have a lot more riveting topics coming up throughout the season. Next week, of course, we'll be covering the state of the territory. But that from there, sky's the limit. Like I said, we're doing 42 seasons, excuse me, 42 episodes this year. So, that's 41 more opportunities to join us in this conversation and really help us dissect our issues, come up with solutions, and from time to time talk about fun stuff. We're not always serious. I think we're a versatile group here. We're very intelligent and we like to talk about the real things, but at the same time, we like to chat stuff too. So yeah. So appreciate everybody for following with us and welcome back. And yeah, man. Go ahead, guys.
Facts, Frank. That's called balance. And I think it's very important in having a healthy and happy life is to balance out the stress and work and life and adulting with fun and
rum.
And so Frank said it earlier. A lot of times, I will rag on him, he'll rag on me. We'll go back and forth with Summer and Darren. Darren, who still has sprint in 2021. I don't understand it, but it's all about keeping that balance, and we mean it out of love. Well, I don't love sprint, but Darren. We'll mean it out of love, and like Frank said, that we'll mix in the serious with the fun, and make sure that we get it done in 2021 to be like Frank rhyming. But yeah, it's good to see y'all. Missed y'all last week, but I had my 38 guava tots and one for good luck, so the year should be decent.
48, 2 years away from 40.
Yeah. Wisdom.
Darren.
See?
Darren.
No wisdom.
Okay. Hey, I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to be back with you guys. I'm happy to be back. And I want to say, I invite you guys to join Clubhouse.
Oh, you're not welcome.
I invite nobody to join PoliTalks.
No, by the same.
To Clubhouse.
I get fired for not eating tot. I get fired for not eating tot.
Darren get fired for not.
Wait, hold on.
He said he was gonna support.
I'm just saying.
For now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the stuff that we talk about here in PoliTalks also exists in Clubhouse. So I'm just saying, for the iPhone users, we gotta look away from Summer for a second. Please join Clubhouse. We talk a lot of good progressive stuff with the Virgin Islands. And definitely Guys, check out Kane Cuttaz on IG. That's CaneCuttaz on IG. They definitely have a lot of interesting stuff. So definitely do that.
And check out PoliTalks because we're there.
Thank you.
And check out PoliTalks. We here, baby.
At PoliTalks VI. You know, we have
At PoliTalks VI. No dot. No dot, Frank.
Follow us every week, every Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30
Every
p.m.
Tuesday.
We love everybody. Liberty.
Station. Come on, man. You know the wrap up. Summer, please give us a real closeout now. Thank you.
Give us a wrap up.
So
Love you guys.
Thank you, Poly people, for joining us on PoliTalks. Like, share this link. Join us next week, Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30. This is WTGX, your NPR station. Follow us on Facebook at PoliTalks VI. And yeah, like that dude said, there's other social media out there that you can, I won't name them because they've been named amply. So I feel like I need to be like PoliTalks. But no, seriously, look up, do look up all the social media avenues to be progressive, right? We're part of them, obviously. And so if we're learning there, we think you should learn there too. See you next Tuesday, 6:30.
See you next Tuesday.
This is WTGX NPR station.
Next Tuesday.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.